Do you feel like you cannot make weight loss progress because every attempt is ruined by overeating? There are emotional and physical drivers that keep your desire to eat alive even after your stomach feels full. This video reveals those factors and provides you with a practical game plan to comfortably get eating under control. First, it's good to establish that it is never appropriate to feel guilty about wanting to eat. Food is necessary for your survival and your body knows it, so it will always encourage you to eat. It doesn't care if you are carrying an extra 10, 50, or 100 pounds on your frame. It wants you to get energizing food inside today. To ensure that you do eat, your body releases hormones and chemicals that make you want food. Therefore, you should never feel guilty about wanting to eat. It is natural. Equally as important, you should never be mad at your body for feeling hungry. It's just trying to help you keep going. So you'd be correct to say that humans are programmed to eat or even overeat. Overeating was a survival need for our early ancestors because food was scarce. Today, it can feel like an obstacle to healthy living, but it is only an obstacle when you have no reason to stop eating. As I mentioned at the start of this video, there are emotional and physical drivers that sustain your desire to keep eating. To gain control, you want to have a clear reason to stop eating when you're full and a simple strategy to move away from food. To tackle the emotional side of this equation, you want to figure out your big why. In other words, why do you want to stop overeating? And this is a bit of a tricky question because there are things that the majority of us want. We want to lose weight. We want to be healthy. We want to have more energy. These are all valid reasons and great quality of life factors. Yet, despite being factual, they may not have that it factor that really motivates you to take action and stop eating once you're full. Sometimes it's easy to find that motivating reason or that really big why. For instance, if you have a wedding coming up in 2 weeks, dieting gets a lot easier to tolerate. That wedding is a why, but it's a single moment. If you have a lot of weight to lose, you need a why with staying power. When you find it, it's a game changer, and there's an exercise you can do right now to uncover it. Grab a tablet and pen, have a seat, and write down 15 reasons you want to stop overeating. Now, coming up with 15 is important because it pushes you past those first few reasons that pop into everyone's head. So your mind digs deeper, revealing that thing that resonates with you and makes you want to take action. To give you an example, I want to share a few things a member of one of my programs uncovered when she did this exercise. She wrote, "I want to be comfortable having my picture taken. I want to stop looking pregnant at 55. I want to be able to sit on plastic lawn furniture without fear." These are things that secretly bothered her. They weren't things that she wanted to share with friends or family openly, but they impacted her happiness. And when she was able to dig deep and find these hidden whys, she found motivation to turn into action. So you now have the emotional reason to stop eating, but what about the physical, hormonally driven desire to keep eating? For that, you need an item, drink, or activity that allows you to separate from food. If you watch my channel, you know that I refer to these eating disruptors as stoppers. Stoppers are effective because they immediately disrupt your desire to keep eating. One way they do this is by changing the taste in your mouth. This would be true of minty things like chewing gum and brushing your teeth. But a challenge with some stoppers is that you have to be motivated to utilize them. For instance, you can know that brushing your teeth will stop you from eating, but you have to physically get yourself to the bathroom sink to do it. And this is why Element electrolytes work so well for me as a stopper. They taste great, so it is not something that I have to do, it's something that I want to do. Element stirred into a cup of carbonated seltzer water is a perfect substitution for dessert because I look forward to it and I get to bypass the empty calories and I fuel my body with electrolytes. The electrolytes found in Element are sodium, magnesium, and potassium. They're essential minerals that your body needs to regulate nerve and muscle activity and stay hydrated. Now, sodium can be confusing because there is such an emphasis on low-salt diets. What we don't consider is what that means. We are told to keep sodium intake under 2,300 milligrams per day. What we are not told as often is that there is a blood sodium level that is too low for good health. And according to the FDA, over 70% of sodium in the U.S. diet is consumed from packaged and processed foods. When you get your diet under control, you avoid these foods and drop your sodium intake substantially. Even moderately low sodium levels can lead to fatigue, cravings, muscle cramps, and irritability. And if you practice intermittent fasting, eat a low-carb or keto diet, and sweat a lot, you have more depletion of electrolytes. Element comes in a plain stick that I like to use when I'm exercising in a fasted state, as well as great flavors that I use as stoppers after lunch and dinner. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order, which is a great way to try all 8 flavors. To get yours, go to drinklmnt.com/Dr. Becky, and I will add that link in the video description area below. A common tendency that can backfire on you when you decide it's time to rein in overeating is attempting to change everything at once. Here again, you can put some blame on your hormones. When you find yourself ready for change and set a goal, that feeling of let's do this fills you with excitement and motivation. According to Dr. Caroline Leaf, who is a cognitive neuroscientist, those positive feelings are due to a rush of hormones, specifically dopamine and serotonin, that produce a feel-good sensation throughout your body. In other words, starting a goal feels great, and motivation is so high that you decide to not only tackle how much you eat, but also how often you eat and how much you exercise and anything else that you can think of. Unfortunately, this hormone high doesn't last. When it decreases, so does your motivation. And this motivation dip doesn't mean something has gone wrong with you or your plan. It is simply the way your physiology works. However, if you're unaware of this phenomenon, you may falsely accuse yourself of being a failure and binge eat. The solution is to remember that while you may see room for improvement in multiple areas of your health, you don't need to change everything at once. Also, it is normal to experience uncomfortable feelings when you're trying to change your relationship with food. So work with your body, and what you'll find is that there is a logical sequence of things to change that will ultimately lead to controlled eating. The first thing to focus on is your food choices, because that, over time, will help you reach a state of fat adaptation. When you are fat adapted, fat loss goes on autopilot and hunger and cravings decrease without effort. The only downside is that you must allow your body time to adapt. Anyone can get fat adapted by changing their food choices and eating schedule in ways that encourage stable blood sugar levels and continually low insulin levels. When this state is reached, your body prefers to get its energy from fat rather than carbs. And this is a real advantage when it comes to controlling hunger, because carbs are used up much faster than fat. You don't store a lot of carbs or glucose in your body. Therefore, when you are carb adapted, you need to keep eating because your body wants the carbs for fuel. When you're fat adapted, that fat comes from the food you eat and from body fat that you carry. So hunger is not an immediate need to fill. In fact, when you're fat adapted, you notice that hunger loses its urgency and you can comfortably stretch out periods between eating. Fat adaptation occurs when you have restricted your carbohydrate intake enough to induce an increase in fat burning. Now, if you struggle with overeating, remember that you don't need to change everything at once. So you don't need to go from a poor diet to a strict, very low carb or keto diet overnight. If you are new to a reduced carb diet, keep your daily carbohydrate intake below 125 total grams, and then step down your intake until you start to see the signs of fat adaptation, such as easier fat loss, sustained energy, mental clarity, and less hunger and cravings. These changes come about because the fuel you need to get through your day is always available, coming from stored body fat. Your body is an engineering marvel, but often has childlike demands. When you struggle with overeating, you feel like the refined carbs that you crave do nothing for you but make you crave more and more of them. But you can break this cycle. Remember that your body can rely on different nutrients for energy. Specifically, it can burn free fatty acids and ketones derived from fat, or glucose derived from carbs, even junk food carbs. If your body is accustomed to running on glucose, it will try to coax you into eating more of it by screaming at you with carb cravings, just like a kid in a toy store throwing a tantrum because you said no to a toy. Fortunately, there is a game plan to stop overeating. First of all, never feel guilty about wanting to eat. We are programmed as humans to eat, but you can tweak that programming to give your body what it needs and get what you want. Start by digging deep to figure out why you want to stop overeating. Use stoppers to draw that line and focus on your food choices, working toward a fat-adapted metabolism. Thanks for watching, and thank you to Element for sponsoring this video. It is their support that allows me to continue making free videos for you to watch. To get your free sample pack with any purchase, go to drinklmnt.com/Dr. Becky or click the link in the description. Have a great rest of your day.